If job searching feels harder than ever right now, even with years of experience, you're definitely not imagining it. We're seeing incredibly qualified professionals struggle to land interviews, deal with ghosting, and compete against hundreds of applicants for roles that they're fully qualified for. After working with thousands of professionals over the last 13 years, we've identified exactly why the market feels so brutal right now. And more importantly, what actually helps people to get more offers. In this video, we're breaking it all down. By the end of this video, you'll understand what's actually changing in the job market today, the biggest mistakes keeping qualified professionals stuck, and the specific strategies helping candidates get more interviews and job offers even in a difficult market. Because the reality is, it's not just about working harder in your job search anymore. The rules have changed. If you don't know me, I'm Portia of Fly High Coaching, where we've helped thousands of executives and professionals soar to their full potential in their careers. The first thing that you really have to understand is that the job market has changed, and most professionals are still playing by the old rules. The market is different than it was 2 to 5 years ago, and outdated job search strategies are producing poor results for people. Why? One, there's more competition for every role out there. Companies, they're receiving hundreds, even thousands of applications for every job. Layoffs and market shifts have increased competition, so there are more candidates out there. Remote jobs dramatically expanded applicant pools, so there are more people applying than just in the geographical area of the business. You're no longer just competing against local candidates. You can be competing nationally or globally for roles. Also, the hiring process has become slower and more complex. There are now multiple rounds of interviews. It's not uncommon for clients to go through anywhere between 3 to 9 rounds of interviews. And the hiring decisions are delayed, so companies are taking their time. What used to take 2 to 3 weeks can now take months for you to hear back about if you're moving forward in an interviewing process. There are also budget freezes and internal approvals that have to go on in order for the rounds of hiring to continue. So, with all this in mind, if you feel like companies are moving painfully slow, you're not wrong. They are. If you want help structuring your job search the smart way, download our free Smart Job Seekers Guide linked below. Also, applicant tracking systems are filtering out candidates earlier. So I generally tell everyone that now you have to write your resume for multiple audiences. And the first audience is the applicant tracking system. Some of you might have heard of the term ATS. And that your resume has to have the right keywords in the right frequency to even move forward so a human being can see it. So this means that resumes, they're not failing because candidates lack experience. They're failing because they don't have the right components on their resume. Your messaging and your positioning also matter more now than ever. So strategy around your resume has fundamentally changed. You've got to know that just being qualified is not enough anymore. You have to be clearly positioned and positioned better than the other candidates. Employers are also hiring more selectively. So a lot of companies want plug and play candidates who already know what to do. There is a lower tolerance for training, and there's a stronger emphasis on measurable results. So companies are minimizing their risk, and they're doing that because right now we're in an employer's market where they have most of the power. So if the market feels harder right now, it's not just in your head, but there's a bigger issue. We're seeing talented professionals unknowingly making mistakes that are hurting their chances. And so that leads me to the second thing that I want to talk about, which is with all this going on, Why are qualified professionals still not getting offers? And many professionals are unintentionally using ineffective strategies. So they're actually applying online too much. So this is one way to think about this is easy apply fatigue. They think, oh, I can just one click apply to all these jobs or have some automated service, just apply for a whole bunch of stuff for me. It's not really being intentional. A lot of applications can fall into a black hole and you never hear anything back. And then there's also low conversion rates that are going on right now in terms of a positive response, hearing back from a company with an assessment, a phone screening, or an interview. Online applications alone rarely produce strong results in competitive markets like the one that we're in right now. Applying online should be one strategy, but not your only strategy. Another mistake is that people have a lot of generic resumes and LinkedIn profiles. This is where your resume reads like a job description. There's no measurable impact or executive presence on it, and there's weak positioning. An example of weak positioning is managed a team of 10. Stronger positioning would be led a 10-person team that increased operational efficiency by 22%. So your results actually mean more than your responsibilities. So you'll notice that second sentence focused on results as well, which is super important. We've got quite a few videos on the channel about resumes, and then we also have some podcast episodes on resumes and resume positioning as well. Another mistake is that people have a weak networking strategy. For a lot of reasons, to many people, networking feels transactional, so they don't want to do it. I really want to challenge you to move through that if you have that thought. And if you have that thought, it's probably because you've been treating it transactionally, meaning you're only reaching out to people when you're unemployed or you have a problem, and you're not leveraging warm connections. You're not keeping conversations going with people. The best job opportunities are often discovered through conversations, not applications. Another mistake that we see is people interviewing without a clear value story. So they're rambling in their answers, their career story, it lacks clarity, it's all over the place, and they don't have a compelling narrative. And if you're an executive, you need an executive narrative. So can you clearly explain why someone should hire you over other qualified candidates? And if you can't, and if you feel as though you sound like everyone else, that's a clue that you need to work on your value story or your value proposition, which we help a lot of our clients with. Another mistake is that you are playing too passive. So you are waiting around for recruiters to find you. You are applying online for jobs and just hoping to hear back, but you're not doing any proactive outreach. And that's a mistake. The professionals getting offers right now are often treating their search like a strategic campaign, meaning you're doing multiple things at the same time. Now, the good news is, despite the market, we're seeing professionals land incredible opportunities. So I want to talk to you next about what's actually working. So how do you get more offers in a tough market like the one we're in today? First, you want to reposition your professional brand. So you want to focus on accomplishments, achievements, your leadership impact, business outcomes that you've been responsible for, any industry expertise that you have. All of those are what I like to call points of distinction, things that differentiate you from other people. So your resume and your LinkedIn profile should answer the question, why should we hire you? Before an interview ever happens. You also want to prioritize strategic networking. So it's important for you to focus on reconnecting with past colleagues, having informational interviews or informational conversations, networking within industry groups, and then doing some thoughtful LinkedIn outreach. Not just spamming people, hey, I need a job. That's not thoughtful LinkedIn outreach. What you want to remember here is that networking is relationship building. It's not just asking for favors. You also want to be more selective with your applications. And I know this is hard because people think, shouldn't I just be applying for everything since I'm looking for a job? No. Instead of just mass applying for things that are not a fit for you, you want to target ideal roles and you want to customize your messaging. So you're doing that in all of your professional branding documents. And a great place to do that is in your cover letter as well. And you want to research decision makers for specific jobs. Who are the recruiters filling those positions? Who are those hiring managers? Research and see if you can find out who those people are. And then you want to follow up strategically. A lot of times people apply and they never follow up, and that is a big mistake. What's important to think about is that 10 strategic applications can often outperform 100 rushed applications. You also want to strengthen your interview narrative. So we've got quite a few videos on interviewing and podcast episodes on interviewing as well. But in short, you want to prepare stories around your leadership skills and other projects that you worked on where your leadership is like front and center. Problem solving, business impact, change management, those sorts of things. Companies, they are looking to hire candidates that have confidence and clarity with who they are and how they can help them. You also want to think long term, not emotionally. And I know this is so hard when you're looking for a job. Rejection does not mean that you don't have any value, okay? And when you're seeing a lot of rejections, it can feel that way. When you're not getting the results that you want, it can feel that way. So I definitely want to acknowledge that. You want to avoid panic applying. So just applying for everything out there. But you also want to stay consistent. So what I see a lot is people take what I call a job search hiatus. They burn themselves out and then they stop looking for a job for weeks or months. And then they go back and burn themselves out, and it becomes just this vicious cycle. So being consistent with applications strategically is the way to go. A difficult job market does not mean impossible. It just means that strategy matters more. So if the job market feels brutal right now, there's a reason for it. Hiring has changed, competition is higher, and many professionals are still using strategies that just simply don't work anymore. But the professionals who are getting interviews and offers, they're adapting. They're positioning themselves strategically, they're networking intentionally, and they're telling a stronger story about the value that they could bring to a role. I want you to remember, the goal is not just to apply to more jobs. It's to become more competitive for the right opportunities. If this video helped you better understand today's job market, let us know in the comments. What's been the hardest part of the job search for you lately? And if you want more practical strategies to help you stand out, make sure you subscribe to this channel.